Greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back. We are in the studio. We are on a wired connection today. Oh, things are good. Things are good. It's good to be us. And it's especially good to be us today because we have joining us a very special guest. And I'm just going to introduce the one, the only, the Tonemaster General, Quain. Quain, say hello.
Hello, this is Quain. Do you like my London accent?
Quain, you're very convincing. You're very convincing, but I can't help but notice a few. I don't really believe that you're from London.
Well, I have been, I think I've mastered it in the past week that I've been here. So let me know. Let me know what you think, guys, if you think this is accurate.
Well, we'll give you high marks. We'll give you very high marks.
I'll uh, I'll
Will the
put you
real
onto
will the
my.
real Quain please stand up?
Hello. Hi.
There we go. There's Quain. Good day, Quain. That, of course, was Lucy, our intrepid producer,
Yes.
editor,
Yeah. We just
factotum.
decided, to do this gag because, it's fun.
We have we have a full house here today. We have the whole. We have almost all of the mod team, just missing Galactic Sand. And we are. What are we going to do today? Well, the thumbnail maybe spoiled it a little bit. The title maybe spoiled it a lot. We are going to be
hmm
working on our Proto-Sinitic, or the clickbait title, Middle Chinese
Yeah.
Reconstruction, which we began when? We began in the fall. In
Yeah.
November, I think. It's been
I
a
think it
long
was
time.
October actually.
October.
Yeah.
It's been a
It was.
long time.
Yeah. Really is.
So we are back. And for those who didn't catch the last edition of this, we managed to take 30 cognate sets.
hmm
And we basically, the idea was, what if we took different Sinitic languages and looked only at their phonological form and tried to do a reconstruction of the common ancestor using the comparative method only. So no philological data, no data from the writing system, no data from historical grammars or rhyme books or anything like that.
Right.
And we made it to we have a theory about the initials so far. And we got to continue that today.
Yeah. We got to march on. Exactly.
All right. So that's the plan. We're going to jump in. I'll do a little intro for YouTube here. Zooming into the mic. YouTube, welcome back. We are here with Quain. We're going to continue our reconstruction of Proto-Sinitic, aka Middle Chinese ish, using the comparative method. So if you haven't seen the previous series, the previous videos in this series, go check them out because that'll give you some good context. But otherwise, I think it's time for us to jump in. Quain, say hello to YouTube.
Hello, you two.
All right. All right. So I think now, apologies, I'm going to be fumbling a little bit with the stream settings because I only have one monitor now. The other has been sacrificed. And there we go. Apologies for the wall of mirrors. Boom, boom, boom. All right. So I will wait a second to let this kind of percolate. And my little preview on the other monitor is watching the stream live, so there's a bit of a delay. Make sure that I can see everything. Okay, perfect. Here we are. So let's just orient ourselves a bit. We have
hmm
on the left. Actually, you know what? Let's swap this order to the way it was last time, so people who watched the last stream don't get whiplash. There, I think we had it in this arrangement. And on the left, we have our cognate sets. On the right, we have our correspondence sets. So what we've done is we've gone through these cognates here. So we've labeled the varieties, the Sinitic varieties A through H. And, we don't officially know what they are, but we do. But we're going to pretend we
Yeah.
don't know what they are. We're just calling
Yeah.
them A through H. We don't know about any subgroupings or any relationships between them. And we are going to continue what we did last time, which was go through and find systematic correspondences between the sounds in the various languages. So,
Right.
for example, let's take one that's relatively simple. The word three, meaning people, we have in almost all varieties we have an M at the beginning of the word, and in one we have a B. So we go over here and we say, okay, we have in word three, the people word, which is an initial position. We have M, M, B, M, 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 M. And so we have tentatively reconstructed an M based on the fact that we thought it was more plausible for an M to become a B in C than for a B to become an M in the other languages.
Mm-hmm.
How does that sound? Fair assessment of what we've done so far?
Yeah. We mainly did the consonants, and that's what we did. So yeah, just moving on to other things, I guess. Right?
Onwards and upwards. So now I think the best avenue of approach is to look at the final consonants, which exist in some varieties.
Right.
I think that's the next logical thing to do, and perhaps that can help us with the consonants we've reconstructed in initial position. All right, so we can just start at the start with word one. We have this word being sun or day. We have reconstructed tentatively a palatal nasal initial, nya. And on the basis of a fairly complicated set of correspondences involving ya, z, nya, la,
yeah,
and
lots of other things. Yeah,
and lots of other things. And we thought the one that makes most sense as the source of all of these is probably the palatal nasal. And for those of you who are familiar with different Middle Chinese reconstructions, this is not informed by any of those. Here, we're using my ignorance as a shield because I don't know very much about them. I certainly haven't committed them to memory. So we're hopefully fairly free of influence from that.
yeah. Well, you are.
Yeah, I am. Quain is not. Quain is if I am free wandering around in the fields without a care in the world, Quain is imprisoned in the darkest dungeon.
Limited in this. Yeah,
You're confined in a deep pit of despair.
Called Chinese historical phonology, innit?
Exactly. Okay, so then let's take a look at the final in word one. So let's make a new row. Call it word one, and this is going to be a final. And for those of you who haven't seen this notation before, the pound sign or the octothorpe represents the word boundary, and the underscore represents the position of the segment itself. So this means word finally, or morpheme finally, perhaps a better way to put it here. And what do we have? So in A, we have no final consonant. So let's, I forgot I'm on Windows, so I don't have access to my fancy schmancy keyboard shortcuts. Fun fact, you apparently can't record desktop sound on a Mac using the streaming software. Who knew? So let's see if we can get the IPA keyboard open. And let's go and get our null sound. Great. That'll come in handy, I think, from time to time. All right, so there is no, oops, I realized that may have been a little off screen. And good. So that's a good start. Nothing in A. Oops, nothing in A. Now in B, we have two reflexes for this morpheme. Likely some kind of borrowing or stratification going on there. Some kind
layers
of
going on.
doublet situation. But both, fortunately, have a glottal stop.
Yeah.
So we can move on to C, which has a T.
Okay. And
D
T,
has a
T, T.
T,
Yeah.
T, T in D, E, F. Then we get nothing in G.
Mm-hmm.
There is a question of when we have diphthongs like I. How do we want to consider that the second half of that diphthong as a final, as a coda, or as a syllable nucleus?
Right. So there's like, debate on those things. And personally, I like for this purpose, I would just say like E there because just for, comparative purposes. And yeah, theoretically we don't care, right? So yeah, yeah.
So let's put in an E here to keep our options open. And for
Right,
H, we
yeah.
have something.
Horrendous.
For H, we have something scary. Not scary, interesting. So
Yeah.
it's unclear whether whether we want to consider this this syllabic retroflex approximant as part of the set of correspondences. I would lean away from it personally. What are your thoughts, Quain?
Yeah, it's a syllabic nucleus, right? So it's like the central part, not the coda. So yeah, I would agree. Yeah.
A coda, got a question coming in from the chat about what is a coda. A coda is the last part of a syllable. So if we can break down a syllable into two halves, onset and so onset and rhyme.
Yeah.
So when you are doing alliteration, you care about onsets, and when you're doing rhyming poetry, rhyming verse, you care about rhymes. And so, for example, in the word plant, pl is the onset, ant is the rhyme. And we can further subdivide the rhyme into two parts, the nucleus and the coda. And the nucleus is the peak of sonority of the syllable. Usually it's occupied by a vowel. So in the case of plant, that would be a. And then the coda is everything after that. So it's typically composed of consonants that descend in their sonority away from that peak in the middle of the syllable. So nt in the case of plant. All right. Oh, looks like our commenter wasn't asking what a coda was, but nevertheless, hey, there's a coda definition for you. That one's for free. Okay.
Nice.
So, let's continue. Okay, so we have what looks to me here like a something that we want to reconstruct as a t, as a some sort of coronal stop, because I think it's a lot easier for us to go from a final stop to a final coronal stop to a glottal stop than it is in the other direction.
Yeah, and then to nothing, right?
And
because
then to
there are a couple nothings.
Right. So let's put the nothing in H as well. Okay. So there we go.
Someone did say that they didn't know what a coda is. So yeah.
Excellent. All right. So we're helping out today.
Yeah, providing free education since day one.
Exactly. All right. Let's see. Let's continue and see what word 2 tells us. So this is the enter word. And enter has kind of a similar story, actually. A similar story to word 1. So let's write down word final position. And lo and behold, we have a null in A, a glottal stop in B.
Glottal stop in B.
Do we see a pattern here? Then we have P, 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 P. And similarly, I here, which we're unsure if we're going to count this as part of the correspondence set, but we're putting it in anyway. And nothing in H. All right. So there we are. It looks like we have a final P, a historical final P in the reconstruction. And it looks like what's happened is we have these coda stops in the proto-language, which then get either debuccalized to a glottal stop. So the distinction between different places of articulation among the stops in the proto-language gets nullified and reduced to a glottal stop in B, and gets deleted altogether in A and H. How does that sound to you, Quain?
Yeah, it makes sense. Like the other direction doesn't really work. So yeah.
All right. So then let's continue and let's see what else we can learn. In 3, we have a nasal coda in every variety. So let's see what we can do about this. So we have a palatal nasal. We have a coronal nasal in A, a palatal nasal in B. Interestingly, it's after a high front vowel. That may be relevant.
Yeah. To take note. Yeah.
Why do I put this in the environment for 3 but not worry about it for the others? Because we know that when sounds are around, especially when coronal sounds are around, coronal or velar sounds are around high front vowels, the vowels tend to have an effect on the consonants in many languages. This is the phenomenon of palatalization. And this is the kind of thing that we would expect to be the output of a palatalization process. So, moving on, we have N,
N.
N,
Yeah.
and then we have a velar nasal in G. Velar nasal in G, which I think I'm going to have to copy and paste. There we go. All right. So, thoughts, Quain?
Well, the majority principle tells is N, right? So, for V, you brought up a really good point that E can, I wouldn't call, yeah, it's more of an assimilation, right? So, like, your E is at the place of being, palatal, right? So it just brings the nasal to there. So yeah, so B can be explained in that way. And I don't know about G though. So like currently we don't have an explanation for G, but it's equally possible for N to become Eng and vice versa, right? So,
Right. Especially
yeah.
in coda position, I'm thinking of a real world analog, which is Peruvian Spanish, which has this process where at least some varieties, maybe not all, but the ones I'm familiar with, the coronal N becomes velar in coda position. So
and the opposite direction is actually like just casual English, right? When you see ing, when you say ing, you say in, like sitting, writing, right? So yeah, it's that tells us that is equally possible.
it seems that in general, fewer distinctions are codas maintain fewer distinctions than onsets do. I think this is a pretty robust generalization.
Right.
And it makes sense because you don't have that the signal of the next vowel. So a lot of times, when you have something like a consonant, when you have a consonant, especially a stop, the information about what consonant you're saying actually acoustically is on the surrounding sounds, on the surrounding vowels. And so if you don't have any surrounding vowels, it's a lot harder to hear those distinctions. All right, so then I think we may have confidence to posit an N, a final N here. All right, so I'm going to take a brief look at the chat. And yes. Okay, yeah, what a question coming in, what if it were unreleased T and unreleased P? I mean, it very well might have been.
Yeah.
That is,
So,
I would say,
this
even
is like a
likely.
this is like a boiled down version. So for as far as I know, for C, D, E, and F, they are all unreleased. So you're correct.
Right. So we are perhaps not as precise, not as transcribing as narrowly as we could.
Yeah.
Um,
But still,
so in the proto-language reconstruction, we very well may want to reconstruct something like an unreleased stops. Someone, a quick question: why is your audio output so low? I don't know. Chat, are we low? Do we need to adjust some settings here? Let us know. Let's see. All right. I'm waiting for the chat to catch up with us. If so, we can easily do that. Quieter than usual? All right, so let's see if we can boost. Quain, say something.
something. Hello.
Okay, I'll boost Quain up here a bit. Let's see if that does the trick, and maybe Lucy can advise us to let us know if there's any technical issue.
I see a lot of chat saying they can hear us fine. So
All right.
yeah, maybe it's a problem on their end, not ours.
All right. So, with that said, let's continue. Let us continue. And where are we? We have just gone through 1, 2, and 3, and we found something in each. So we can move on to 4, where we also find something.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a little bit, it's similar but different, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Quain is now too loud. Oh, I have overdone it. Okay, I'm going to back off on that. Quain, say something.
Something. Test. 1, 2, 3.
Lovely. All right. So, okay, going over to 4. Going over to 4, we have again, we're in word final position. We have a nasal vowel in A.
Mm-hmm.
So let's call this. Let's see if we can get a V just to stand in for a vowel. Vowel. Okay, there we go. Any vowel. That's an assumption. We don't know if it's any vowel, but for now, we can just say any vowel. B, nothing. C, nasalization. D, optional, or at least two strata. One
nothing
has.
on N. Yeah.
So let's write this more consistently. Nothing/N. And E, we have N. G or F, we have N. G, we have nothing. And H, we have N. Okay, so this is the kind of thing that I would also like to reconstruct as N, but now we have a potential issue. Why the difference?
Yeah. Right.
Specifically, why the difference in G, A, B, C, and sort of D? Maybe we can appeal to the vowel here.
Yeah, maybe we can. But let's see.
But it doesn't particularly look like we can, given that we have high front things.
Yeah, it's sort of something like front, in both cases, right? So there's from A to E, so basically that range.
Yeah. So this is interesting. So this is something that maybe we would want to say as an N, but are prevented from the fact that now we will collide with our analysis of 3 unless we have some way of distinguishing between the two.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if we can also appeal to the nature of the words. So we have a word meaning people, we have a word meaning heaven. These seem like fairly basic terms, but I could also see heaven being something with cultural importance that you could perhaps borrow from a prestige variety. That's something that I wouldn't be surprised to see.
Yeah, interesting point. But wouldn't the prestige variety, if we're both like reconstructing them as N, right?
Mm-hmm.
The prestige variety is more likely to retain it, is my guess, right? So
Well,
if yeah,
not necessarily, because think
Yeah.
of Western Europe and think of all the loaning from French into Italian and
right, yeah,
Spanish.
yeah.
So
Sure,
we could
yeah,
have a very innovative language phonologically ending up as the prestige variety.
right.
Can happen. Anyway, that's something to keep in mind, but I don't think it should. I don't think we need to go down that road yet.
Right.
All right, so then let's continue and let's see what we can do, because we have another one of these
Yeah.
nasalized.
I think 5 is a good one for us to look at before we make decisions.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's do a similar job with 5, misbehave. So we have nasal vowel, nothing, and then we have an N. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have an N, then we have a velar nasal.
And a bilabial nasal. So all 3.
And a bilabial nasal.
Yeah.
And then N, nothing, N. Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. I'm going to take a quick break to check in with the chat here about those audio issues.
I think we're fine.
Okay, good.
Don't see any. Yeah.
Good. Excellent. Okay, so then we actually have 3 separate reflexes now. Or not 3 separate reflexes, but 3 separate correspondence sets that we would be tempted to reconstruct as N. Here we do have what looks like a different vowel. Something low and perhaps front.
Yeah.
So it looks like we have some kind of an A before 5, and it looks like we have some kind of an E or an A before. So I'm going to just write this as capital A, capital E here. Maybe this can give us a way out of the problem. Any thoughts on your end, Quain?
Yeah, 5 is puzzling because you pick one of those out of the 3, right? So you can't just although N is the majority, it's just as possible for the other 2 nasals to be the case, right? Because you can, it's you can go from one to another pretty easily. So
I think it's a lot easier though to go from the coronal. It's a lot easier to go to and from the coronal than for the labials and velars to interchange, unless you had some sort of a labiovelar. So maybe what we have is mwah.
that's but
yeah, that's a bit out there at this point.
Yeah, but I can't. Yeah, I have some background knowledge that is not necessarily true in some Chinese languages. So, yeah.
Interesting.
So, yeah, if you're talking about M to N and vice versa, right?
Mm-hmm.
So some do that. I can tell you that. So take that as you.
Take that with a grain of
yeah.
Take
that with a grain, of
a grain of something, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so then we're left here with this question mark. We need to distinguish between these three cases. Is the vowel
Yeah,
going to be enough to do
I
it?
think it's best to, just leave a question mark on 5 and then we'll come back to it
Okay, so let's
eventually.
put question
Yeah.
marks in both of these. We'll keep our reconstructing as N, but I've made a new column here which says, do we have questions? And we have questions.
Yeah, we
All
do.
right, so let's continue. We have in 6 something that looks a lot on first blush like 1.
Yeah.
So we have, let's see if I can just copy the reflex set from 1 and see if there are any places where it doesn't apply. So nothing, glottal stop, T, K/T. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
T, T, maybe this y and nothing. So I think perhaps in T we have some sort of a borrowing or some kind of maybe a doublet of some kind. I have no idea what's going on here. This could very well be a different. This could even be a loan word from a completely different etymology.
I think it can be related. So like 5, if you look at 5 and 6 for D, right? So you see the angma and the K there, which they are probably related, right?
Mm-hmm.
So right, they're on the same layer than the N's and the T's.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so probably there's something going on because you see a lot of those like doublets or I know it's literary versus colloquial pronunciations in D and a lot of other languages, right? So you see it in D as well and G to some extent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a very common phenomena in Chinese.
Yeah, would be very interesting to understand the specific history of this.
So I would say like take the ang in 5D with a huge grain of salt because it's not yeah.
Interesting. All right. We shall take that under advisement. Let's go on to 7, which is the word for 2. That's not confusing. Okay, so 7 is... Oh, and then we're going to reconstruct a T here. But there still remains something to be done. What is the next situation? 7. Okay, so we have... Oh my.
Yeah.
All right, we have We have... This is the nucleus, so we're not going to reconstruct anything.
We're not counting that. Yeah.
We have nothing in 3. We have nothing in... nothing in C, nothing in D, nothing...
Well, there's a nucleus, right? So the ang part in C is a nucleus rather than a coda.
Right. So
yeah.
So we're not going to reconstruct a coda, or we're not going to. It's not that we're not going to reconstruct them, but we're not going to have a coda correspondence for C.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what does this mean? Nothing, 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 nothing across the board, and then we get or and one wonders about the...
Yeah, I think A and H, they do have some relationship. Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Although the question is, what are we going to add to this column H here? Because this is a nucleus as far as we're concerned, and the way we've been transcribing them before, we would basically put nothing here. But it seems like there's a relationship between A and H that is obscured by putting nothing there.
Yeah, and also, like rote-sized vowels versus just a retroflex rhotic, right? So it's pretty clear that those two are connected.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I would say just put a rote-sized schwa there, just for, maximal clarity.
Yeah, and I'll put a little question mark beside it just so that we're not accepting it uncritically. Right, so that's 7. What are we going to reconstruct here? If this were English, I know I would reconstruct.
Yeah,
I would reconstruct the rhotic
right.
because losing a rhotic in coda
Yeah,
position, that's old news.
yeah, yeah. You're speaking rhotically. I'm not. So yeah.
Exactly. Who was first? But that doesn't necessarily play into this situation. That doesn't necessarily apply here. So the question is, do we want to reconstruct some kind of that gets eliminated? I think it's instructive that we have syllabic nasals,
Mm.
syllabic sibilants, or high vowels everywhere else. There's some,
Yeah, like the R like stands out, right? As
Mhm.
a because it's not like quite close to the others. Yeah.
So this one is a bit of a mystery to me, as far as its reconstruction at this point. If you didn't know anything about this family, what would you do?
You're asking a hard question because I know things. But okay. So is not out of the question, but consider like how it's just A and H, and A and H have a clear, like relationship between them. You can see like from their phonology, right? Because at this point we can maybe confidently say that A and H are, some kind of a branch, right? Because they share a lot of things phonologically.
Right, but the
Yeah.
one hesitation is that in order for them to be a branch or a clade, we would have to have shared innovation. Whereas
Mm.
if this were the innovation, if loss were the innovation, then these would be shared retentions which do not form, which are not evidence for a branch. They're just shared retentions. So
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah,
we can't
yeah.
really get around this question of direction that way yet.
Yeah, or like who comes first,
Mhm.
basically, right? So yeah.
Um, Jack Wren just pointed out something that's perhaps relevant, and I think it's very relevant, perhaps, that enough hedges, that we're missing initials in only
Oh yeah,
A and
yeah,
H,
exactly. Yeah,
and this is
yeah, and we reconstructed the initial to be something like yeah, right? So
So
uh,
let's try and put these two things together, and here's where I can
mm-hmm.
use the new fancy technology. For what we're on 7. So we have this palatal nasal that we've reconstructed. So put this like this, and if we are to reconstruct this rhotic afterwards, palatal nasal followed by like nyr, this, I don't know. That's a bit weird, and I can see why they didn't. I can see why a language would not keep those two things beside each other. But yeah, this is a bit chaotic. I'm leaning away from reconstructing a coda consonant here
Yeah,
for that reason, just because it would be such a weird protoform.
yeah, and near goes to well, yeah, it can like you can somehow explain it, but yeah, when you have some like Chinese knowledge of Chinese, you know that near is a very weird syllable indeed. So
Well, and
yeah.
also to have retroflexes next to high front vowels is weird.
Oh yeah. It is.
Like very weird.
English sort of does that, but near,
Mm-hmm.
but which you can insert a schwa there.
Yeah, well,
But
that's exactly
yeah,
it. We want to insert a schwa there,
right.
for that reason, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. How do I get back to the original
Yeah,
sort?
but like the majority is something like a consonant followed by e, which yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm leaning towards that direction rather than
Right. All right. So then let's reconstruct nothing here. And we'll have to account for A and H.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then let's go on and let's see if I can sort
Yeah.
this in some sort of sophisticated way. I don't think so.
We do 3 next, and then we take a break because it's like about time, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
It's time to take a break after this. So, word 8, the word for 3, we have reconstructed with some kind of S, some kind of S-ish sound at the start. The only sort of strangeness that we had to contend with there is that D has this D initial. But that's not so weird in the grand scheme of things. What can we do with the final? So here we have we have our nasalized vowel in A again. Then we have nothing in B. We have nasalized vowel or M
Interesting.
in C.
Right.
Very interesting. We have nothing or M in D. We have M in E, M in F, nothing in G, and N in H. And all signs point to M here. Because,
agree.
You know, it's simplicity itself to go from M to N in a coda position, as we've already talked about. M, it's a nasal, so it can nasalize things just as much as N can. And otherwise, we have all these M's at the end of the word. So I'm fairly confident to put this as an M. And this is going to have implications, friends, for our for the other series of nasals, because now we have a few rules that we can posit. So I think what we should do is take a little break here and then come back and consider the implications of this reconstruction. So, Quain, any final words for YouTube?
No, just bye YouTube.
All right, I'll come over back to the full screen webcam. See you next time, YouTube. We are going to continue with our epic reconstruction of Middle Chinese. Until next time, birai. Okay, fantastic. That was lovely. How is everyone doing in the chat? Are we all
Hello, chat.
Doing well? Happy? It is a bit delayed, unfortunately.
Yeah, I can't see it.
Okay. I'm seeing very good come in from Rondomo. Excellent. Very good to hear that. And Lucy, how are we technically? Anything we need to shift or adjust? All right. I'm seeing nothing, so I'm going to take that as hydrating. Good news. Okay. Sounding good. We're all good. Why don't we jump back in then and try to ponder what our latest discovery implies. And I'm just going to change the way I've written the environment so that I can more easily sort things. And there we go. Okay. Perfect. So all of our codas are lined up and all of our onsets are lined up. Beautiful. Okay. So I'm going to try and crack my knuckles. No, I'm getting nothing. All right. Well, we'll start anyway. Knuckles or otherwise. Are we ready, Quain?
Yeah, we are.
Okay. Well, YouTube, we are back and we are going to dive in again to our reconstruction of Proto-Sinitic. And last time we made a little bit of progress so far on the final consonants, and we made some reconstructions, and we came up against this puzzle where we seem to need multiple nasals, multiple final nasals, because we have some that show up as N, some that show up as M, some that show up as a nasal vowel, and we're having trouble figuring out what distinguishes them until the latest thing that we reconstructed. So I'm going to take us over to the side webcam, and Quain, by the way, Quain's with us. I don't know if you didn't know that.
Oh, hello. Hello,
There's-
YouTube.
There's Quain. Okay. So side webcam, off we go to the races. And this is the word that is unlocking things for us. This word 8, meaning 3, which we are reconstructing with a final M. Let me wait for my little video preview to show up so I can make sure everything's on screen. Good. Okay, that looks nice. Where on earth were we? So we have all of these question mark nasals here. M. Can M get us out of any other binds? I don't know that it can. Let's write some rules.
Mm. Yeah, we're pretty sure about the M in this word, right? So
Mhm.
that means that in H, M changes to N.
Right. So we can take that home with us. I'm going to make a new sheet here, third sheet, and oops, no, don't look. Okay. You could, for a moment, see the answers, but that doesn't matter. You could see it in the first one as well. All right, so here we are. We have our colors. Oh, I don't know why it's gone so. It's made so many. Technology is once again conquering me. I'm being vanquished by technology again. Quain, help me.
Mm.
Distract YouTube while I delete columns.
Yeah.
Okay.
How's everyone doing? Hi.
All right, good job, Quain. So
Distract.
we've distracted
Distract.
them.
Yes.
All right, let's write down some rules. So I don't know if you can see on your end, Quain, the third tab I've put up, which is the rules tab.
I can. Yeah.
So I have up on screen on one side the rules tab and on one side the reflexes, or the correspondences. So let's do the things that we're reasonably sure of. So we have so far P and T turning to no in coda position.
Yeah. In A, G, and H.
In A,
G with an asterisk because there's a E thing.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so far we can.
Safely for A and H, we can say that.
A and H, and then there's maybe a little question about it for.
Yeah.
For G, but that's fine. Okay, so that gets us to, for the first 3, 1, 2, and 6, the first 3 on our correspondences sheet. For A, B, G, and H. Oop, no, we didn't do B. So what's going on with B? We get a glottal stop. Same thing, but it's a glottal stop instead. Oops, that's not the thing I want to change. There we go. And maybe even A, G, and H pass through this stage. Who knows? Impossible to say. For C, D, and E, nothing happens to these coda consonants. Except in D, we have this one weird K that shows up. But I don't think that is enough to warrant a rule.
Right.
Okay, then for the next thing, we have this bizarre rhotic thing. So let's just ignore that for now. Let's say I'm going to how best to do this. I want to make sure that we've colored the ones that we've taken, that we've accounted for. Maybe I can just do like a no, that doesn't really show up. Maybe I'll just color the ones we haven't accounted for. That might be easier. So this will be read. This KT here will be read. All of these will be read. The rhotics, the coda of word 7 will be read. All right, so then let's do word 8. So we have M becoming nasalization on the vowel. Just very informally written, but there it is. So M deletes and causes nasalization on the vowel. In B, M just deletes. In C, we get one of those two rules, but we're not sure which one. So we can write that in red for now because it's not yet explained. We get the nasalization rule in C or the retention of M.
Yeah.
We get the deletion rule in D or the retention of M. So I'm going to write that as red as well. Then we get retention in E, F, loss in G. So B and G have the same reflex for final M. And then we get M to N in coda position in H. And that's that done. Okay. Fantastic. Where are we now? Now let's look at what we reconstructed before as final N. So we have in A, we have some kind of final nasal turning to nasalization. In B, we have some kind of nasal turning to deletion, so we don't have any distinction in A and B, so that's fine. Let's leave C and D for a moment. In E and F, we have MM, but MN for words 8 and 5, respectively. Sorry, if you're just listening to this, it's probably not super, it's not super clear. Oh, Jack, thanks. There's no need to color G red because that is taken care of. All right, so we have M in E for words 8 and 5. And we have M in F for word 8, but N for word 5. So either this is another M and it becomes N here, or we have an N and it becomes M in E. Or some secret third thing. These are the trick. These 4 cells here are the trick.
Right. So if we look at 5F, right, which is our focus. So, should I hint?
Well, maybe we can expand our horizons to account for word 4 as well. So we have M, M, N, M, N, N. So we have one that is M across the board, and we've reconstructed that as M. We have one that's N across the board in E and F, and we have tentatively reconstructed that as N. And then we have one that varies, that is different in E and F.
Yeah, so number 5, we're, so first of all, disregarding D because that's, sort of an anomaly, right? So don't look at that for the moment. And E and F, so the issue is that one is M and one is N. So we're trying to figure out whether it's M or N, basically, right? So, what are you thinking?
I want to appeal to the vowel rather than hypothesize a third consonant.
So appeal to the vowel. So you're saying that for E, so for 3 and 4, they are high, or like frontish, not high, not necessarily high. Front.
Well, they're non-low at least.
Yeah. And for 5, we got R, which is low. So, interesting. So does R versus E affect anything with regard to M and N? Do we have examples of that?
I'm thinking of maybe like, I don't know, this is a bit circular, but I'm thinking about how nasalization happened in Japanese. Like the Sinitic loanwords were treated.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, but that is kind of circular because that's all sort of
yeah. It's kind
what
of
we're trying to deal with here.
yeah, it descends from the same roots. So yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So yeah. Well, I'm just gonna say, right? So, let's look at the initial consonant for a moment.
Okay, so 4, 5, and 3. So let's go back
Yeah.
to our cognate set.
So three, yeah, we can include 3, 4, 5, and 8 in our
Mm-hmm.
sample. So, let's see.
So the initial consonant we've reconstructed M for 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
T for 4.
let's put that in the environment here. T for 4.
Mm-hmm.
So let's put that in the environment as well. And for 5, we don't know. Some kind of
F or V.
F or V.
It's our best bet. Yeah.
Yeah. So why don't we put a big capital F there? And we can call that fa something. And then for 8, we have some kind of S-like thing.
S, yeah.
Some kind of SA.
Okay. So if we were to group them, I think so there's labials and coronals, right? It's the grouping. So when we look at 3 is relatively simple because it's all N except 1. So we can more or less confidently say that is N for 3, right?
Right. So shall we do those first then?
Sure.
Okay. You were on a roll though. I don't want to stop you. I'll just quickly put these these in. So N to nya after E. And I'm just making assumptions about what the relevant environment is for these, but I think this is reasonable. So N to palatal nasal after E, and I guess in final position, and N to velar nasal in final position. I'm assuming the E doesn't matter there, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, assume it for now, but yeah, we'll sort it out later.
Okay, so that takes care of all of these. These are all now done. So we're good with these. We just need to reconstruct 4 and 5. Let's take Quain's hint and look at the initials. So we have some kind of labial and some kind of coronal, probably an aspirate. If we put in a
Right. So think about like how initial consonants can play into this, right? So if I want to change from M to N or the other way, is that something that is, providing that environment or hindering that environment?
Well, I'm thinking that one thing that could happen is some kind of dissimilation. So
Go ahead.
If we have if we have a say we have a labial initial that might cause a labial final to flee to another place of articulation. In the case of 5.
5F, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, E doesn't care. Like language E doesn't care, but F apparently cares in that scenario. So that so F cannot coexist with M in one syllable, is what you're saying, right?
And then we would, yeah, I think that is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're possibly right.
And then,
Because yeah, I think that explains it well because uh you so now you're positing 5 to be M, but it turns to M because of the F thing.
mm-hmm, in a lot of descendants. Although, actually, we don't need to invoke it for H because that M already just turns to N all the time in H.
Right. Yeah. H is irrelevant at this point because yeah,
M
it just
deletes in G, so we don't need to worry about it there. So it's taken care of,
Mhm.
taken care of. The only one that we need to do is F. So M to N, and then let's call it afterlabial. Because if we can get all this on one line, boom. Okay, so then that takes care of this. Then D is a bit weird. We also have to contend with C, but note that we don't have to contend with A or B because they're already dealt with. So the only thing that we have to do now is understand what's going on with C and D, and we may not be able to do D, but C and D are the mysteries.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so C is the odd one out with the initial consonants, right? So if we posit a change of F, some kind of F to H, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that dissimilation rule for F happens before that.
Or the w of Juan is also sufficient.
It's a labial. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
appeal to that. Yeah. I think that's reasonable.
Okay, so then let's get this rule in C as well. And so that'll get us what we want here.
Oh yeah, because like phonetically, it's easier for F to become a hua like sound, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we'll have to deal with that at some point, but this is interesting. So then the only one we don't understand is D. And then we have to deal also with what happens in why we get nasalization for N and for M in C sometimes and not in other times. That's still a bit of a mystery.
Right.
But I like this analysis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the thing that is to be resolved is 3 versus 4, right? So why M behaves one way in 3 and the other way in 4.
Mm-hmm. And you can sort of see what's interesting about this is what you're willing to consider an exception and what you're willing to consider a rule. Because it's almost as if once you've decided that, everything then becomes very easy. But that decision is not an easy one to come to, and it's one that you want to come to in as principled a way as possible, but ultimately there are some decisions that just have to be made.
Right, yeah. And we're trying here, right? We're trying here to be, as neo-grammarian as possible. But, like I know this stuff because I wrote about it. So there are like a bunch of irregularities in all like kind of sound changes. So yeah, sometimes you just gotta contend with it.
It's keeping the neo-grammarian principle of exceptionless sound change is good. It's good discipline. It's good discipline to keep this as rigorous as we can make it. We know it's not true, but it's at least a nice set of rules that we play by in order to hopefully discover something.
Right, and if we don't like abide by it very rigorously, we just fall into the trap. Like, oh, you can just make anything out of anything.
Mm-hmm. And then we may have made some nice art. You the viewers will be the judge of that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we've learned very much. We just got a suggestion in from the chat from Jack Wren saying it looks like the nasalization in C coincides with the coronal initial.
Interesting. Yeah, I can. Yeah, maybe. And the in A as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, in A is nasalized in 4, but not like N in 3.
Yeah.
That is interesting. But like, how do you? Yeah, if that is a rule, how to explain that, like from a phonetic basis?
Right. So this is one of the ways in which we're trying not to be arbitrary, is to appeal to natural processes of assimilate of articulation and perception that we see reoccur, and we can understand the psychological or the physiological basis of. So things like assimilation, it's easier to make two sounds in the same place if they're one right after another. That makes sense. We have a plausible mechanism by which the sound change may have happened. And so when we see sound changes that look like assimilation, we're much more comfortable positing them because we understand how they may have come about, and it doesn't seem so arbitrary.
Right. Yeah.
Nevertheless, not everything can be explained that way. So
yeah, for example, the suggestion by Jack that nasalization only happens after coronal, which is a bit, yeah, I don't know.
And it does have an exception, which is this doublet M in C.
Yeah, right.
So
we could appeal to something like, oh, M is the higher layer or something that is borrowed. Like,
yeah, that could work. But shall we look at some more finals before we go any further down that road?
Yeah. We can we look at K? So just because we got P and T, right?
Right. Yeah. So where is K? Look, it's right. It's in our next.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Our next one.
9.
All right. So number 9.
Cool.
Let's see. Number 9.
Okay, so nothing glottal stop, which is the same as before.
Actually, let me put this up a few. Cut, and we'll put it up above here. There we go. Sorry to interrupt you. Okay, so we have nothing, glottal stop.
Wait, this is interesting. So glottal stop and K, which is a very interesting combo here.
Where are we looking?
9C.
Okay. 9C. So glottal stop or K. Interesting. So I'm calling this 9.2 just so that it can sort correctly. So we have glottal stop and then glottal stop / K.
And nothing in D.
And nothing in D.
Okay, and then K, nothing.
K, nothing. Okay. Right, so how does this work with our existing rules? Can we... Whoops.
So A is explained, B as well. So A is regularly nothing, B is glottal stop, so we sorted that out.
So we can just extend our rule to be all PTK.
Yeah. Which, they're a natural class, so
makes perfect sense. We can do the same with G and H.
Right.
So we're losing...
and E and F as well, because they just retain things.
Right, E and F are good. Where's our issue? D. And
D,
maybe C.
And maybe C, half C. Yeah.
Anything with 2 reflexes, we're just going to call red
just some some kind of borrowing, or it's something like layers going on.
Layers within layers.
Yeah.
So it looks like E has loss of only K. If this is the only say if we're going to reconstruct a K here, then looks like we're going to
You
need
mean D, right? Oh,
yeah,
E retains it. So
D,
D.
D. K to nothing. Find me the null symbol in coda position. And with the data we have so far, this looks like it will do the trick. And, maybe in C, they borrowed from B or something like that for one of their, for one of these doublets. All right. Okay. Let's see if we can get any more. Back to the cognates.
Right. So we got PTK and M and N, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have we got N?
Actually, no, we don't.
Yeah.
So that's something we would be on the lookout for. Let's see if we can find something. We might have to jump.
I think look at 17.
17.
That is a good one.
Okay. So let's see. We suspect that there may be a velar nasal here.
Yeah, because most things are velar nasal and some nasalizations. That's it.
Right.
Right.
So nasalization, 0, although the
there's a velar nasal right there.
Yeah, so this is where our methodological assumptions are kind of maybe that's not exactly what we should be doing.
Yeah, it's a little bit flawed, but
but anyway, we can call that it's clear what's going on, I think. We have nothing and or maybe E and
Yeah.
Then we have velar nasal.
Nothing. Yeah.
All right. What can we do with this?
Well, obviously, right?
Right.
Because
we really want to reconstruct here, given that we would have this nice symmetrical system, which we tend to expect. Although it's not always the case, it's a good working assumption. This is another way of making things non-arbitrary, because we notice that languages tend to like symmetry in their inventories. Not always, but it's a tendency, and it's a way of making some non-arbitrary decisions.
Yeah, and we're not just looking for like the sake of looking for it, right? So that it's right there. So yeah,
there it is. So we're not surprised to find it, but nevertheless, we didn't just wish it into existence. So how are we going to do this? We need to change the rule in A so that the velar nasal also gets deleted. Actually, we need this one is unexplained.
There's some complications because in the previous cases, B just deletes nasals, right? But in this case, it nasalizes the previous thing. So
right, and actually,
there's a couple. Yeah,
it's come to my attention that we haven't explained A and B for line 4.
A and B for line.
Right, because
we just let it hang there.
Yeah, we let it hang there. So let's make those red so that we know we haven't succeeded at it yet. But these are important data points for what we're about to do. So we want to delete the final velar nasal. So it looks like we're going to delete and in A in final position.
Yeah. But not all ends because of 3.
Right, but not all ends.
Yeah.
So so do we want to put all nasals here? Because clearly that would mean that this is the exception. If we put just M and Eng, then this would be the exception. To argue for like one position, we got 15, which also has N, and we got 21, which has So it's not like A just doesn't like nasal finals at all, because it has it as some with some words. Although a word meaning culture, if anything's going to be
what do you mean?
A prestige borrowing.
Anything's going to okay.
Yeah, but anyway, we're not going to go there. Let's. So what do we want to do? Do we want to say? What do we want the rule to be? non-coronal nasals delete, which is, a bit less yay of a rule, but still it's fine, I think. Non-coronals, that is a thing. Non-coronals do pattern together. Jakobsen even had a feature that picked out labials and velars at the expense of coronals. So it does happen.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then then 4 is an exception. Or do we want to say, alternatively, that all nasals turn into nasality on a preceding vowel, and then 3 and 15 and whatever else it was will be exceptions? My inclination is to say that the grave nasals, I believe that's the Jakobsonian feature for non-coronal things.
Great. Yeah.
Will nasalize, but coronal nasals will not.
Well, but you look at 21, for example, the word for same.
Yeah. Okay.
Which.
So that's an exception. That's an exception either way. In either theory, it's going to be an exception. Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I clearly don't like all nasals because that's just not describing this data well.
Right.
But
so maybe a way out, Quain, would be this used to be coronal nasal, but then it got backed by O or something like that. So we have.
But you look at all others. But you look at B through H, like they all got. So it's. I'm hesitant to say that's an innovation.
It was a very early change.
Well,
okay,
there you go.
Fair enough.
Trying to escape this dungeon, basically.
This is it. This is it. We're in the dungeon. Okay, yeah, I think that's not tenable then. So we're going to have some exceptions here, no matter what we do. So unless we want to appeal to the vowel.
Which we can, actually, right?
Because, we can, because this is an ah. Wait, what are we looking at? We're looking at the ray of light.
Yeah, so 17 is ah, but 21 is o.
Okay, let's get 21 up because it's now part of the party. There's no way of avoiding it.
So 17 is ah, versus what are some other vowels that are nasalized? So 5 we have ah, and 4 we have ear. So
some kind of ah-like thing, some kind of o-like
so
thing.
Ah-like thing, some kind of air-like thing. What else?
Although to be fair, 17 also has a lot of o-like things.
Right. Yeah, but just looking at A internally instead of because we're arguing that A is going through a change, is an innovation, right? Because of the nasalization.
Right.
So we're just not sure about its condition, like how, what sort of things cause the nasalization. But we know that nasalization is quite widespread in A.
All right, so let's get the 21 cognate set down, the correspondences rather. So we have velar nasals literally across the board.
Yeah, no exceptions. Hooray.
Wow, this is like the only one that we've had that said no exceptions.
Yeah, we're like struggling so much to find, 8 of the same things.
Yeah. And that's the one I tried to explain as, actually originally it was.
Yeah, you try to explain away from that, like how
the one thing that you should have respected. Oh dear. Bad Colin. Okay. Well, it's done now. We're going to reconstruct the velar nasal. So we need to understand why we have such different reflexes in 17.
I see someone in chat appealing to tones, which is a really interesting idea, which we just haven't explored tones at all. So
we haven't explored tones at all. This is true.
I
don't know. Do we want to open that that Pandora's box yet?
maybe next section we gotta take a break, right?
Okay. All right.
I
Why
think
don't we
it's about
take a little
time.
let's take a little break now and
Yeah, and let our brain cells, live for a moment
all right,
before dying.
let's
Oh, yeah.
replenish. I'll come over and we'll say so long to YouTube for now. Come back next time and see the thrilling, I doubt it's the conclusion, to be honest with you, the thrilling continuation of our reconstruction of Proto-Semitic. Any final words, Quain?
Yeah. Join us in the adventure in the dungeon. We're in the deep end. So, yeah.
Right you are, Quain. All right, we'll see you next time. All right, chat. I'm stretching, I'm hydrating. Okay, so that is pretty cool. Any thoughts, chat? Any avenues of attack? Any cockamamie theories?
Jack says, okay. Is the tone of the word 24 for A notated correctly? Yes, it is.
Which one is 24A?
You can say, yeah, you can see 17 for the record. Yeah. It's asking for A, 17A and 24A. These are the same tones. Yeah.
Interesting. What other words are going to be coming in? What are our other final nasals? We have 27. We have 24.
Yeah, I think 27 is a, 4 kind of thing.
All right, let me get, I'm just going to do a little bit of bookkeeping in between segments just so that we can remember. So we want 27, 24. Any other ones? I don't think so.
15, which is the one.
15. Yeah, right. Okay, so 15, 24, 27. That's what we're going to need to start off with. And then that's all of our... The lovely thing about this, having such a limited data set is that it forces us to make decisions before we normally would, which is nice. It really brings into sharp relief the trade-offs that we have to make, rather than endlessly wondering, is there more data?
Yeah. It's very clear that you clearly have to make some choices, and that these choices are informed choices. They are based on phonetics or like other things. Like when we see like the slashes in C and D, we know that one is going to be like borrowed or something, right? So it's dependent on the typological knowledge and also just linguistic knowledge in general. So yeah.
Good fun. All right, let's see if we've got
Randomo, we're going an extra half an hour or 35 minutes.
So we just put in little cuts because we export the segments to YouTube afterwards.
Right. Yeah, it's easier for us to do that. Yeah.
And to avoid having to re-record little intro and outro segments, we just do it live, and it's fun. But yeah, so we'll stick around for another half hour.
Yeah, I think we'll just do reconstructions today, right?
Yeah, and we'll do some other stuff next week. Yeah. So friends, next week we're gonna stream at the same bat time, same bat channel, and Quain will join us once again, and we will have a jolly good time.
Yeah, and some very different stuff coming up.
Very different stuff coming up. Okay, so let's. Ooh, I got a knuckle crack in there. Let's jump back in, and we'll try and finish these nasals, and maybe we can get on to some.
Then go to vowels. I think vowels. Yeah,
because I think
we'll leave tones because tones.
Yeah, we'll leave tones for the next time. But we have. I think we will have completed the coda consonants at least. So that's kind of fun. Okay, let's skedaddle into the next segment. Where am I? I need to find... there we go. All right. YouTube, welcome back. We are here with Quain, the Tonemaster General himself. And we are... What are we doing? We are reconstructing Proto-Sinitic. I don't know. We're doing pretty well so far, I think. I mean, I don't want to pat ourselves on the back just yet. But, Quain, what do you think?
Yeah, we made we encountered a lot of tough problems and we made some decisions. So yay.
Decisions. Always a good thing to make, although occasionally they are the wrong ones. Let's see how we do this time. We're going to scoot over into the side webcam. Apologies for the single monitor setup today. But here we are. Okay, so where we left off, we had just got... What had we done? We have been pondering the nature of Proto-Sinitic final nasals. And we've come up with the problem that whatever we seem to do, whatever we seem to reconstruct, we are going to have some unaccounted for forms.
Mm-hmm.
So let's at least finish the picture so that we can have a full set of data to use to make these decisions. And then we'll see what we want to be an exception and what we want to be the rule. All right, so the three forms that we need to look at are 15, the writing/culture word, 24, the heart word, and 27, the mountain word. So let's get some reflexes. Let's get the correspondences. So why don't we start with writing? So we have N, N, N. Then E/N.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever we have one of these doublets, I'm just going to preemptively color it red because there's going to be something we can't explain.
Yeah, you just omit E. Yeah, just disregard it for the sake. Yeah. So N, N, and N.
N, N, and N. And let's look at and see what rules we have that...
Yeah, which you can compare to 3, right? The
Right.
word for people. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So the word for people looks a lot like this. We're good with A, with B, although we had
it's
this
not E.
palatal. It's because it's not E.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're good.
Yeah.
We're good. This ended up being a good rule.
Solved.
What vowel are we going to? Maybe some kind of oo or schwa kind of thing. Not totally certain, but it's not an E. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So I don't know what we want to preempt. Not preemptively, but what's the word?
Yeah.
Provisionally.
We're worried about the. Yeah.
Something non-E anyway. Right. Let's go back to the rules. With C we have no problem. With D we're potentially.
Just ignore the first one.
Yeah. Okay. So let's turn this. I don't know why. Yeah. There we go. With E, by the way, is currently the ancestral form for everything. F.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. For F, we have M dissimilating from an earlier labial, which doesn't apply. We have N backing to a velar nasal, and G correctly predicted, and H.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, this one is good. We are absolutely confident in reconstructing N, and there are no exceptions except for this little E here. Can I get part of the... Will Google Excel let me color part of it? I don't know. Look, there we go. Google Docs green. All right, that's good. Let's go to 24. So 24 is our word for heart. So here we have N, palatal nasal, interesting. M, M, M.
So a bunch of M's.
M.
Yeah. M, 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 M.
Velar nasal.
And N.
And N. Goodness gracious, jumpin' Jehoshaphat. This is interesting. So I want to reconstruct M here because we have all these M's.
Yes.
But what happens if we do that? So say we reconstruct
Okay.
M.
So. Mm-hmm.
We immediately run into the fact that A is unpredicted. I think it's relevant, though, that we put E here. We have some kind of E-like vowel beforehand.
Right. And you never, like in A, in all phonology of A, you never see nasalized E, and that tells you something, right?
Right.
Because, yeah, it's just like that combination is not allowed, and instead you have an N.
That is interesting. That is very interesting.
Yeah, right? Because I'm not analyzing this wrong, right? Because like in the M cases that we have, so 5 and 8, right? They're all like a low vowel instead of a high vowel.
That's right.
So and they got and they and only they. So you can see some nasalized s, you can see some nasalized ons, right?
Right.
But not e's. Yeah.
And I realize we have to mark this one in red. This velar nasal here, because that doesn't work. But if we say, okay, all non-high vowels, or all non-high vowels, because we don't have any oohs either.
Yeah, we have an all in 21. Which
I mean,
is,
we don't really know what these vowels
Yeah.
are, to be totally honest with you, but
Right.
it's something in that realm.
Right. Yeah, it's just like something high-ish. Right?
Yeah. But let's
That's
say
totally
but this is something that we have to deal with, because as we tighten one area, it's like putting together furniture. You tighten one part, but you don't want to tighten it so tight that the rest can't move, because you need to tighten that
yeah,
in.
yeah, yeah.
And it might be in the
It's
wrong
a very
spot.
delicate, very delicate arrangement of things
Exactly.
that you have to, juggle.
This is like those IKEA instruction books where you open it out and it's like 24 pages. It's one of those. It's not one of the ones
It's
where
just, yeah,
it just comes with like one sheet of paper and it's just put it in your room. It's like, okay, done. No, you need
yeah,
like three different.
although like all the English words like on there, but you just don't know what it means.
Exactly. Well, in the case of IKEA, it's just little symbols on there, so you don't even have that.
Right.
help.
Yeah.
But
Right.
yeah, it's not one
Yeah.
of the ones that just say, okay, put it in your room. They give. This is the ones where they give you like 7 different Allen keys. Can you tell I'm thinking
yeah.
about moving and buying furniture right now? This is on my mind.
Or like these A parts, like they look similar, like 99% similar, but there's a tiny minor difference that makes and breaks it,
Exactly.
basically.
Exactly. Right you are, Quain. Okay, so let's see. Now that we've revised this to be non-high vowels, we save this one. We save M. If we could put this as oo in the proto language, we could save this exception as well. Something to think about. We have interestingly, we have the velar nasal here. Oh, sorry, the palatal nasal here in B. What is going on there? If we have an ancestral M, if we reconstruct an M, we need to find a way to get that M to participate in this N rule.
Then, yeah.
So
I think.
What about?
Yeah, I think we're thinking the exact same thing.
What if we? So assuming that we care that we think that an earlier stage of this language really cared about the difference between non-high vowels in this, high vowels and non-high vowels in this environment, then we can use that as an escape hatch to say M will delete, so it'll nasalize in A, but it deletes in B in those same circumstances.
Right.
And then
it's retained and then comes to, the palatal nasal because of assimilation.
Otherwise, it goes to N, and then this feeds the next rule.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, does this actually help us anywhere else? I don't think we need it anywhere else yet. But nevertheless, it would be cool if we saw actually a form that have this this hypothetical intermediate stage. Right now, it's just sort of to make the rules work, but because we could have easily just said M to palatal nasal after E, but I think this is a lot more sensible.
In that process, you just come across N.
Yeah.
And you might as well just
because we
turn to N first. And
exactly
then
we have it already.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel good about this. I feel good. Now let's see.
So we're fitting. 24 is M. Deal.
In C, because we have some kind of a coronal here, like an S-ish thing, we don't have to worry about this rule. In D, we have nothing to change. In E, we have nothing to change. In M, same rules. In C, nothing to change. N goes to the velar nasal in G, and M goes to the coronal nasal in H, so we're good. Everything's fine. We've completely got it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are we saying that let's just all nasals just turn to the velar nasal in G? Is that what we're...
Oh no, wait. We have a problem. Yeah. We need to do the same thing for B. Yeah. I spoke too soon. We need to do the same thing for B. So, but that's kind of interesting, actually, that we need a variant of this same kind of rule. So we need the M deleting when it's after a non-high vowel, otherwise going to N, which goes to the velar nasal. Now, this might sound, maybe we don't really have any direct evidence for this stage.
Yeah, a little bit clunky in it, right? Yeah.
Well, it's not. I would say it's less clunky for B because it's weird that you would have M. To me, there's not a clear assimilation story to make the lips turn into, you know what I mean?
But M to N in G is a bit,
but
it's one step or two. Yeah,
but
we don't know.
It gives us a potential clade for B and G.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Especially if these two came before this coda deletion business.
Yeah, and G just does it further in a sense that G just, I don't like any other nasal rather than velar nasal.
Right.
Because that's the only one I have. So, yeah.
Yeah. And cool.
Okay.
We need one more thing. We need one more thing. As Kat points out, we need this rule also in A. Oops. We need the M to N rule in A. And here we actually do see the intermediate form.
So in 24A, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, and look, we have this M to N rule going here, 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 here. Interesting. All right.
Yeah, so M to N is a relatively widespread thing. Yeah.
And messing around with non-high with M after non-high vowels is also a fairly widespread thing, although the details are a little bit different from A to B.
Yeah, it's like all nasals after non-high vowels do some funky things in A, B, etc. G. Yeah.
I think we could unify it further, although this I think might be going a bit too far, by giving B a two-step process where first it nasalized and then lost nasalization. And then you could say A and B shared those changes, but I don't think we have to do that.
Yeah.
All right. So
I think B and G together are stronger than with A. Yeah.
Okay, but that's really cool. Let's see what we can do with 27.
Okay, so it's a similar N lost and nasalization.
Nasalization.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Oh, nasalization pops up in C as well.
Yeah, as it does for 8, but here we get the variant with an N. So I think we should.
Yeah. I think it's So C does this thing where there's two readings, and one of them is a nasalized one, and one of them is a retained nasal one. Which
and then so maybe we can make a decision about what we think is the sort of the through line form, the form that developed from generation to generation through sound change, and what is a potential borrowing or reborrowing. But for now, let's finish 27.
Yeah.
And yeah, we have to make sure that we don't. I'm just making sure we have all of our red ones correct. No, apologies. I keep clicking the wrong button. I don't know what it is. They make the background and the change font color very similar. Okay, so then D we have nothing or N, or sorry, nothing or the velar nasal. Wait, nothing or the
Yeah.
velar nasal.
Which is a similar thing to 5, I would say. The word for misbehave.
Right. But we don't have the initial velar or the initial labial to help us there. All right. So then we had N, which we weren't using in D. We haven't actually got any rules for D yet. So
Yeah, D is just it's clearly like pretty out there. It's very innovative. Let's put it that way.
Although it's interesting that we should say D is innovative when we literally have one rule for it.
we just can't deal with it.
We just have thrown up our hands so far.
Right.
Okay, but for now, let's take these and let's make sure. I could have sworn I did that already. And so far we don't know what to do with D there either. So D has a history of causing us grief.
Yeah.
All right. So what can we do? Let's see. So we have to decide what are we going to posit for 27. What is the word 27? Is mountain, right?
Yeah. I think so E, F, G, E, F, and H have N.
Right. So
and G as usual just drops it.
And we have weirdness in D. So let's posit an N tentatively for now.
Yeah.
And let's see what happens. Let's see if this prediction actually gets us the results that we want.
Okay, so A is a non-high vowel, so it nasalizes. Great.
Right. So it's
B,
after some kind of ah.
Yeah. B it deletes, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
C, there's some two reading situation, which
But
it retain. Yeah,
the
we
N
just
one
count
works.
it. Yeah, we just count it as retain. So, and all the others work apart from D.
All right. This works. This is good. Wait. Why do we lose it in G?
Why do we lose it in G? When we look at
because we normally lose M, not N.
Right, but when we the analogous example to 27 is 4, right? So if you look at 4 is deleted.
Right, and have we correctly dealt with this? I don't think we have.
I don't think we it's a similar situation to B. Right?
We just don't have. So 4 and frankly 17 and 27 are incorrectly predicted right now for G.
Oh, so we just add a rule.
So we need to add a rule.
Yeah.
So what is that rule? It's going to be N deletes. So, but when? I think it's going to be precede these rules.
Yeah, because otherwise it will change to N.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
N deletes. Does it delete everywhere? No. It does not delete everywhere because after in this Ming one, in the people word, it doesn't delete. And in 15 it doesn't delete. What's 15?
Yeah.
Is that same?
Vang, which is yeah, we said like some kind of non-rounded vowel for that, but it's not.
Well, it could be rounded.
Wait.
We got a lot of rounded reflexes.
Oh yeah. Not
Some non-high.
wait, not high. The U is high.
Oh yeah, some non-E.
Non.
Not
Right.
E.
Yeah, because I think it's a deal with E versus non E, because when you look at 3 and 4, it's a bit confusing because the forms in G is kind of opposite of other forms, if you know what I mean. So that vowel in 3, we can like roughly same like safely say that it's some kind of E, right? So I think it's, yeah, because a lot of them is just E, but in G is A.
So what if we did M and N delete after non-high vowels? But that'll still cause us problems, right?
M and N delete in
In G.
wait. Yeah, because 3G and 4G are the main issues here.
Right. So let me just color these so that we can see them. So all the N's that we need to deal with. We get deletion after this ah-like thing. We get backing after this whatever the non-I vowel is. We get backing after E, and we get deletion after some kind of like thing. So it's a bit weird.
It's sort of all over the place. I can't really, pin down a phonetic
But
condition for that.
what if we could? What if this were oo? And
Wait,
then
which
this is the culture writing word.
one?
So then it's retained after high vowels in people and culture, and it's deleted everywhere else. That would work. And we already have a delete nasals after non-high vowels. So all we have to do is extend this.
Yeah, then we have to explain all the vowels, all the vowel changes in G, basically.
Right.
Because there's a lot of them. Yeah.
Right. So, but I think this will get us where we need to be. So then
So you said non-high is deleted, right?
Mm-hmm.
And high is retained, but somehow the vowels get funky, and
exactly
they changed.
Hey, I'm more comfortable with vowels getting funky than consonants.
Right. Yeah. I'm with you. So.
All right.
I think. Yeah.
So then we've solved this problem. Yeah, I see in the chat. This can be kind of hard to follow if you're not. Well, it's even hard to follow for me. But I think it's useful to kind of sit down and do the exercise. Yeah. And if you want to learn how to do historical phonology, this is exactly the kind of process that.
Right. It's a sneak peek of, what actual historical phonologists, daily life is.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Although I don't think they have as many colors as we do. something to think about. Something to think about. Yeah. So then we've bought this at the expense of making our decisions in the vowels for us.
Yeah.
So we'll see if this comes back to bite us. But so far, these are looking pretty nice.
Yeah. I mean, like we came so far, right? Like that's the only, logical decision that we can make right now. So yeah.
Well, exactly. Kat asks, how does N delete in B? How does final N delete in B? So this is.
Well, it can be nasalized first, right? As in A. So A gives you a window as to like why that may happen, because yeah.
And also, notice that B has the same pattern of deletion of final N as G does. Exactly the same, in fact. So it looks like our rule is actually a shared innovation of B and G.
Yeah. It speaks to the fact that B and G are a clade as we suspected. So
interesting. Okay, so yes, B and G share these two rules. Deletion of M and N after non-high vowels in final position, and M merging with N. What M's remain merge with N in final position as well. All right, so then shall we turn our attention briefly to some of these doublets and try and establish which is the ancestral form, or not the ancestral form, but which is the inherited form and which is a borrowing? I think that'd be a good way to wrap things up.
We have like a few minutes left. So yeah.
Interestingly, it looks like E preserves the ancestral character of all final nasals and all final consonants, except for in this one word, which is kind of interesting.
E. I have an exception. I don't know if you want to discuss it, but
is it one of our words that, or is it something else?
Let's see. I can wait. I don't. From our data, yeah.
Well, our exception is 7.
I can't. Yeah, I can't see it, but yeah, Our
exception is 7. 7 is we would expect
weird.
Expect some kind of thing.
Oh, but we didn't say R for that, right? So,
oh yeah. So why is this? I don't know. I guess I made a mistake. So it looks like yes, E is totally ancestral for the data we have. For the hypothesis of the reconstruction that we have. So
okay, I found it. Hold on. For 20, the first character of 20.
All right. For some reason, my computer's getting very slow. So let's
just wait for it. Yeah.
The first character of 20. We haven't done this one.
Yeah, we haven't. And there's something interesting going on in E, right? So.
Right. That's true. Okay. Well, that'll have to be something. Let's worry about that another time.
Yeah. For another time.
Let's try and figure out the D doublets. So, or let's try and figure out all of our doublets. We have about 5 minutes, so we can do it, I think. So if we look at our first doublets, which is the, please go to the rules, which is the ancestral form of, which is the form that we predict for D, we predict T, so K is the unexpected one. So let's turn this red. It's a bit annoying.
There are some unexpected Ks where there should be teeth.
Yeah,
right?
I'm gonna use a different, just because it's a bit hard to color half of a cell in this program. I'm just going to write it like this with an exclamation mark saying, "Hey, what about K?" All right, and then for M, we predict M, and so what about the deleted version?
Yeah.
So what about the exception? I don't know why I can't do this.
I think it's good to look at C and D together, so you can see some parallels between them.
Right. Okay. So then, about the glottal stop. So in parentheses is the exception.
Right.
C, we expect M, and then we have this exception nasalization. So this is interesting. Here we have M predicted as the inherited form, and some kind of exception, either nasalization or deletion. And it's interesting that the very same rules that get you nasalization, like the rules that get you nasalization and deletion of these final nasals, have the same environments in the languages in which deletion occurs. So I think there's
which is some kind of non-E thing, right?
Mhm. For some reason, the video feed has gotten blurry, so I'm not going to do anything interesting. It's going to re-resolve. There we go. Okay, it's back.
It's back.
Yeah, it's back. Apologies for that. So, yeah, looks like there's something similar going on here. Let's take a look at D. So for D, we expect N to remain, and then this missing version, the null final version, is the unexpected one.
Right. D seems to like to delete a lot of nasals in one of the versions. Yeah.
And so then these ones where it has a y at the end, unexpected. And to be honest, this one where it has nothing or the velar nasal, both of those are unexpected. So we have a bit of work to do there. And for C, it's the same story where the nasal is the inherited form and the codaless version is the odd one out. Okay, so it looks like what's happened is in the cases of, and I'm just going to write down here the morphemes that this happened in. In 17, in 15, in 27, in 4, in 8, we have these doublets. And what's interesting is, for most of them, or at least for half of them, we have doublets in both. So what are these words? 8, 17, and 27. Let's see if there's anything we can note about them. So one is the word for 3, one is the word for ray or light, and one is the word for mountain. And neither of these seem to be particularly...
Yeah, they're pretty basic, right?
They're pretty basic words. Yeah. Interesting.
Like you're not expecting kind of learning happen for those words.
Yeah.
But it does, apparently.
Well, you learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're quite close to the finish time. Quain, do you want to say any final words to sum things up? What have we learned today?
We learned reconstruction can be very difficult, and we have to, sit in the dungeon and make decisions and, just carry on, because it's going to be confusing at some point, but, you can march on if you got, the linguistic knowledge and the perseverance to carry on. So, yeah, we march on, and we'll finish it one day.
Indeed. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Quain. This has been a great deal of fun.
Thank you for letting me on. And yeah.
And friends, thank you all for joining us as we have attempted to reconstruct something like Proto-Sinitic from 30 sets of cognates. This has been a great deal of fun for me. It's been a joy to have Quain on. So thank you again, Quain, for coming on, and thank you all for joining us. We will continue this series, of course, but for now, we're going to sign off. So YouTube, see you next time.
Bye, YouTube.
And chat, thank you for joining us, especially on this, on this Friday. It's not a normal stream day, so thank you to all of you who've come out and supported the reconstruction of Proto-Sinitic. It's it's a worthy cause. And yeah, thanks, Quain, for coming on. This is a great deal of fun.
Thank you. There are chats saying we will publish the original sheet. I think it's somewhere, right, in the Discord.
Yep. We'll resurface that so that you can all play along.
it's historical at this point. It's
Yeah. Yeah, we'll pin that maybe in the I don't know. Should we put it in the Chinese languages channel or something like that? That might be a sensible place to put it.
Not 中文, I don't think, because people don't usually go there. So maybe somewhere else.
All right. Well, we'll put it somewhere where you can all find it in the Discord. By the way, Discord. If we're mentioning Discord and you don't know about it, there is a link to the Discord in the video description. So you're welcome to join us there. Otherwise, I think that about does it.
Okay, bye bye, Tom G. Tom G says bye bye in Chinese.